Ever look down at someone's wrist and think, wait, is that a Rolex or an Omega? Yeah, it happens. Sometimes it feels like they're distant cousins. But how did two of the biggest names in the watch world end up with designs that look so alike? Did one copy the other, or is it all just a coincidence? Spoiler alert, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. So, buckle up, because we are diving into why Rolex and Omega seem to be playing in the same style sandbox. Same vibes, different names. The dive watch dilemma. It's hard not to start with the Rolex Submariner and Omega Seamaster, two of the most recognized watches in the world. At first glance, they're like twins separated at birth. Both are designed for diving, both have rotating bezels, both have water resistance up to 300 meters, and they both have bold hour markers. But why do they look so similar? Here's the deal. Back in the 50s and 60s, when both brands developed their first dive watches, the demands of professional diving dictated much of the design. Divers needed a watch that was water-resistant, durable, and legible underwater. Both Rolex and Omega delivered on those fronts with the Submariner and Seamaster, and the designs stuck. However, there is more to it than just technical specs. The Submariner has a classic, almost conservative look. It's a watch that you wear when you want something timeless and iconic. The Seamaster, on the other hand, brings a touch more personality. It's sportier, with features like the signature wave pattern on the dial, and skeleton hands that give it a slightly more modern feel. So, if you're after a dive watch, but you want something a little less seen everywhere, Omega's Seamaster could be the way to go. But let's face it, both are head-turners, and for good reason. Overlapping histories and shared standards. Now, let's step back for a second and talk history. One big reason why Rolex and Omega have such similar designs is that they've both been around for over a century. Back in the mid-20th century, watches weren't about fashion, they were tools. Both brands had to develop watches for divers, astronauts, race car drivers, and explorers. And guess what? These professionals don't care about design trends. They needed something reliable. That's why you'll see similar design elements in watches like the Rolex Explorer and the Omega Railmaster. Both were developed as tool watches, designed for durability and legibility, not style. Yet, over time, these features became iconic. So, even though today's models have evolved, they still hold on to the DNA of those originals. Take the Rolex GMT Master 2 and the Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean GMT. Both are made for travelers with the GMT complication, which gives you the ability to track a second time zone. They look alike because they're built to serve the same purpose, but that doesn't mean that they're the same watch. Rolex's GMT Master 2 has a sleek, minimalist bezel, while Omega's Planet Ocean GMT leans into a bolder, sportier look with its oversized numerals and chunkier case. Industry standards create similarities. Another big factor behind the Rolex and Omega look-alike phenomena is that certain design elements are just standard across the entire luxury watch industry. For example, a rotating bezel on a dive watch isn't exclusive to Rolex or Omega. It's just part of what makes a dive watch functional. The same goes for high water resistance and legible hour markers. These are essential features that define the category. So, naturally, you're going to see some overlap in design. It's kind of like how every car brand has to make an SUV these days. It's what the market demands. But, while the basic design is similar, each brand has its own unique spin. Rolex and Omega are no different. Let's talk about bezels for a second. Rolex's ceramic bezels, introduced in the Submariner and GMT Master 2, became a huge hit, both for their durability and their sleek, modern look. Not long after, Omega introduced ceramic bezels on models like the Seamaster Diver 300 meter. Coincidence? Probably not. But it's not about copying, it's about competition. One brand pushes the envelope and the other steps up to match it. This rivalry drives innovation, but it also means that their watches often share similar materials and features. Evolution, not revolution. What's really interesting about Rolex and Omega is that neither brand feels the need to reinvent the wheel every time they release a new watch. Both brands have evolved their designs slowly over time, rather than making radical changes. Look at the Rolex Daytona and Omega Speedmaster, two iconic chronographs that haven't changed much over the years. Rolex has kept the Daytona's classic clean look, while Omega has stuck with the Speedmaster's rugged utilitarian design. Both watches have evolved in terms of technology and materials, but their core designs have stayed remarkably similar to their original versions. Why? Because they've become icons, and fans don't want them to change too much. This is why new models from both brands often look familiar. They're building on a legacy. But that doesn't mean that they're standing still. Both Rolex and Omega have made strides in movement technology, materials, and durability, but they do so in a way that respects their history. Consumer demand for timeless designs. Let's be real for a second. As much as we love innovation, people are creatures of habit. We like what we know, and we love timeless designs. Rolex and Omega understand this better than anyone. That's why, when they release new models, they stick to tried and true designs that they know will resonate with their loyal fan bases. Take the Rolex Oyster Perpetual and the Omega Aqua Terra. Both are classic all-occasion watches with simple minimalist dials, smooth bezels, and metal bracelets. They're designed to be versatile and elegant. And guess what? Consumers love them for that. These designs are meant to look good whether you're in a suit or on the beach. Both Rolex and Omega could go wild with new futuristic designs, but why mess with success? Their customers want the classics, and they deliver. That's another reason their watches sometimes look so similar. It's what people want. Market competition and trend setting. Rolex and Omega are fierce competitors, and that's a huge reason their designs sometimes overlap. When one brand sets a trend, the other is quick to follow. For example, Rolex was the first to really push the whole luxury dive watch thing with the Submariner, and so Omega followed suit with the Seamaster. But here's the kicker. Omega didn't just copy Rolex. They took the concept and then they added their own flair, making the Seamaster a little more modern and sportier. In recent years, Omega has been pushing the boundaries with their use of ceramic, titanium, and other high-tech materials in their watches. Rolex, known for its conservatism, has slowly started incorporating more modern materials into its lineup. However, they still maintain that classic look. It's this back and forth that keeps both brands at the top of their game, but it also results in watches that can seem pretty similar at first glance. The luxury watch aesthetic. If you browse the luxury watch market, you'll notice something interesting. Many of the top brands have a similar aesthetic, whether it's Rolex, Omega, or even brands like Patek Philippe or Audemars Piguet. There's a certain quote-unquote look that luxury watches tend to follow. It's clean, it's elegant, and it's timeless. This shared design language is partly why Rolex and Omega watches can look alike. Both brands are trying to hit the same luxury notes: clean dials, metal cases, and minimalist bezels. When you're catering to a luxury market that values sophistication and understatement, certain design choices are bound to overlap. And keeping the customers happy. Let's not forget that these brands know their customers inside and out. People who buy Rolex or Omega watches want a specific experience. They're not looking for radical, edgy designs. They're looking for something familiar and recognizable. The Rolex Explorer and the Omega Railmaster haven't changed much for a reason. Customers like them the way they are. These designs have a history, and history is a big deal in the luxury watch world. In many ways, Rolex and Omega aren't just competing with each other, they're also competing with their own past. How do you make something new while staying true to what made your brand great in the first place? It's a fine line to walk, and both brands are masters at it. And there you have it. Rolex and Omega may look like they're sharing style secrets, but in reality, it's all about history, function, and a little friendly competition. So, which side are you on? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will be sure to respond to every single response. Like and subscribe if you love elegant timepieces, and if you don't subscribe, well, it means I'll just have to wait another day to onboard you. Until next time, keep your wrists stylish and your time priceless.